Going on, everybody? Welcome back to the More Than Philly Sports Network. Today on our podcast, talking about the Super Bowl recap. I'm joined alongside Gavin Tony. For those who had the opportunity to watch us earlier, listen to us earlier, still used to that live stream style, Gavin. But no doubt, Carson Wentz, of course, once out. We've covered that earlier. Go ahead and take a look at that. We're going to continue to break that down. But first of all, Gavin, welcome on to the podcast again. A little bit different for us than what we're used to. We're not getting rid of the live stream entirely, as we had discussed prior to today's podcast, but stay tuned. We're going to be having a lot of fun updates for you, blogs, talking about, of course, Gavin's UConn Huskies. I know he's very excited about that. But first of all, Gavin,
tonight, Zach.
Super Bowl happened yesterday. A lot to break down. Before that, how you doing today?
Zach, I'm doing great. Listen, I'm pissed in the sports realm of things, Zach. I am not happy at all about the Super Bowl outcome. We'll get into that in just a second. But, Zach, you brought my Huskies. Yes, they're on tonight versus South Carolina. Number 3 UConn versus number 2 South Carolina. So I'm excited. All right. I'm going to be screaming at the TV, Zach, but that's the realm of sports. Ladies and gentlemen, how's everybody doing? Zach, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here. Different method for us today, delivering some awesome content to you, the viewers. We're having a lot of fun with it so far. It's going to be a little interesting to adapt to. But with that being said, Gavin, let's get to it. Super Bowl recap yesterday. Going through our bets, we're pretty much even. I'm still counting through them. For those who had watched the live stream on Friday, we did do our prop bets themselves. A lot of shockers yesterday. 31-9 final score. Kansas City Chiefs falling to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I did predict the Buccaneers to win, but I predicted a much higher score, at least for Kansas City. Gavin, let's start out with it. What happened yesterday? Kansas City Chiefs limited to 9 points total. They had a field goal in the first 3 quarters. They went silent in the fourth. Patrick Mahomes did not look fine all night long. Credit to Todd Bowles, of course. But Gavin, what are some of your thoughts from that game?
Well, my first original thought is if you're Carson Wentz, that just helped your argument out a lot. Zach, you see what happens when you don't have an offensive line. You're running for your life practically. The only things that made it different from Patrick Mahomes and Carson Wentz was Mahomes was throwing to wide receivers and he was throwing vertical. Zach, I don't know if you can ever launch a ball when you're on your way falling to the ground and almost complete a couple of those passes. But that's a major takeaway I take from it is offensive line matters and the front four matters. And Zach, Todd Bowles deserves a lot of credit for that game. And that defense deserves a lot of credit for that game. Zach, what was the difference they did this go around and they did last go around? They didn't blitz Mahomes. All right, they didn't blitz him. They trust the front four. The front four went to Todd Bowles and said, "Hey, we can apply pressure without extras. We don't need Levante David. We don't need Devin White coming in. We don't need a safety coming in. We got us." And Zach, and especially in the time where the offensive line is down, the boys, JPP, Vita Vey, Dominican Sue, Shaq Barrett, and forgive me, I'm forgetting one. But those guys, they got to Patrick Mahomes. And you can saw the outcome. Now, Andy Reid did some Andy Reid type things, Zach, where he abandoned the run game, as we all know that he does. He did it here in Philadelphia. But Zach, that game was reachable at one point. It was. It wasn't out of reach. Zach, you know how I am about the softness in sports. I'm not fond of how some of the plays were called. Zach, you're going against a tall wide receiver, Mike Evans. The pass interference where he kind of slid to his knees. Zach, he wasn't touched. You know that. And then you got the play where Tyrann Mathieu in the back of the end zone. That's a little touchy. Zach, Mike Evans is what, 6'5", 6'4", versus a Tyrann Mathieu is what, 6'1". You got to play physical on these guys, and the refs weren't letting them play. Am I going to sit here and blame the refs for all these things? No, but those are two major factors. You gave them a great field position chance, and then you gave them another chance in the end zone, an even closer chance to be exact. So I'm going to use those two. But the major takeaway is the offensive line, Zach.
I agree. I like how you said that was supporting Carson Wentz's case. I did say during this season that I was confident the Eagles, even with Mahomes at quarterback, would not have even made the playoffs. Yesterday's point does strengthen that case. All things considered, though, with the Super Bowl yesterday, the refs did contribute to the Buccaneers' 31 points, but arguably it had nothing to do with the Chiefs' 9 points. For the Chiefs yesterday, they ran the ball 11 times. Patrick Mahomes did run it a few additional times, but 11 times with their running backs. When you don't run the ball, it is dangerous because it allows your linebackers to play back and keep everything in front of them, and it allows the safeties to play back. It allows the corners to play back, virtually eliminating Tyreek Hill. This was a bad game plan by the Kansas City Chiefs. It was bad execution by everyone all around. You know your offensive line is banged up. And also on top of all of that, they're tired. You just won a Super Bowl less than a year ago, about a year ago to this date. You just came all the way back. You cruised through the playoffs. I'll be honest with you. I would say they cruised. That Buffalo game was never close.
I'm talking about, but what about
The Cleveland game? The Cleveland game, of course, the injury to Patrick Mahomes. But I would say that they pretty much cruised through the playoffs. They looked like the best team in the AFC, which they are. They were tired last night. They got outcoached. And that's unfortunately how the story ends. There's a reason it is so hard to repeat. The Seahawks couldn't do it. I mean, the Eagles lost to the Saints in the divisional round. They couldn't do it. And now the Kansas City Chiefs just add their name to that. That's just the unfortunate reality. For anyone out there who thinks this diminishes Patrick Mahomes' reputation, it does not. The only thing it does is it does solidify Tom Brady as the greatest of all time. But that's not a stab at Patrick Mahomes. But Gavin, you have something to say about that.
I do have something to say about that, Zach. Here's the problem. To sit here and yeah, Zach, 7 championships are not, it's not easy in combine football. I don't know who's second next to that. I had to go on my stat sheet and look that up. But are we just going to sit here and act like he won this game? Zach, the last time I checked, the Chiefs defense was getting torched in the beginning of the first half. All right, let's honest. But that Buccaneers defense was on a whole nother level. All right, Zach, here's why I get annoyed with calling Tom Brady the best player to ever do it in football. Tom, and it's hard to call somebody a GOAT. I mean, Zach, he's the best quarterback to ever play as of right now. All right, my money's still on Mahomes later down the line, 10 years from now. We'll see where he ends up. But, Zach, there's 11 other people that you have to rely on to play and help you win. Zach, the defense. Zach, Tom Brady doesn't play damn defense. Tom Brady doesn't play corner. He doesn't play linebacker. He doesn't play safety. Zach, he doesn't do none of that. He's a quarterback. And then the only thing that Tom Brady makes better is offense. Zach, he controls the offensive line. He says, hey, I need you to keep me upright. Zach, that was one of the most undisciplined offensive lines last year. He comes in. Zach, they're doing the same thing. Next thing you know, wrong name. Tom Brady gets in their ears, and they become disciplined. They had a rookie right tackle who was playing phenomenal. And then, Zach, then you want to talk about wide receivers. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are really underrated. Zach, they don't get enough appreciation. They really don't. And the sad thing is Mike Evans was here first, and people forget about Mike Evans. He was a monster. When James Winston and Ryan Fitzpatrick, your quarterbacks, I guess everyone will forget about you. But Zach, he brought in Antonio Brown. He brought in Rob Gronkowski. He had Cameron Brate. He had O.J. Howard, who went down. They were stacked. But Zach, here's my hot take. Ready? This Super Bowl is more defense than offense. Zach, those offensive pieces were here the whole time, so was the defense. Zach, the defense was the only thing I was saying that would keep them afloat. Zach, that offense didn't click to what? The Detroit Lions game where they blew up the Detroit Lions? What was that? Christmas or Thanksgiving? I can't remember. But after that, that's an offense that clicked. The defense was already here.
The defense was up and down all year, but I'll tell you this, and I know people that are Buccaneers fans. I've spoken with them. Culture is the most important part of starting a franchise, of reinventing a franchise. In Carolina, they're trying to redo it with Matt Rule. The Jets' culture is completely diminished and destroyed. The Texans' culture is completely diminished and destroyed. And as much as I hate to say it, our Philadelphia Eagles' culture is diminished and destroyed. Okay? But Tom Brady is 43 years old. He's not mobile. He doesn't have the strongest arm. He's never been the most talented player on the field. At the moment, the most talented quarterback of all time most likely goes to Aaron Rodgers. And when his career is all said and done, Patrick Mahomes will dethrone him for that. Steve Young, also up there. We know that. There's a reason Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick. He ran, a 5.3 40? But Tom Brady is intelligent. He's a great leader, and he knows how to recruit. Again, Gavin, you probably don't agree with the recruiting in basketball as much. But in football, it is more important to make sure you have talented pieces around you in order for your team to work. It can't be a one-man show in football. So he goes out and tells them to draft Tristan Wirfs, best rookie tackle in a long time. They go out and get themselves Leonard Fournette. They get Antonio Brown during the season. They get Rob Gronkowski. Tom Brady's able to delegate, introduce a winning culture to that team. And finally, he's able to step up and make plays when they need them. He makes smart decisions. Didn't turn the ball over once yesterday. You said he would show his age yesterday. He did, but not in the way that you think. He showed his maturity yesterday. And Devin White and Antoine Winfield Jr., all these guys see the maturity of Tom Brady. Bruce Arians said it himself. If he tells a guy to do something, he doesn't usually listen as much. If Tom tells him, he'll be like, all right, Tom, right away, I'll do it. The players respect Tom Brady, all right? Tom Brady's able to go out there. That's why he is the GOAT, because of the way that he recruits others and motivates them. He surrounds himself with a lot of talent. Arguably, that's why he left New England, because he knew there wasn't a lot of talent. That's a smart decision to make. And it's not a one-time thing. It's 7 rings. That's a lot. And a lot of those rings should be accredited to Bill Belichick as well. So either Tom Brady's been in the right place, the right time, one too many times, or his winning culture, as he has brought to Tampa Bay, has allowed them to be able to go out there and succeed. Yes, Devin White, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Antoine Winfield Jr. I'm terribly sorry that I forget the other safety's name, who was playing with a torn labrum yesterday. Levante David, Jason Pierre-Paul. These guys stepped up and did their parts. Again, they deserve more credit, but the reason that Tom Brady continues in this conversation is because of the way he uplifts and he motivates his players. He yelled at his O-line early in the year. Everyone thought the season was falling down. You lost to Chicago. It's still 4th down. But look, I think honestly, for this team, the way that he's able to uplift them, yeah, there's some things that I've been skeptical about that New England Patriots organization, but Brady left it. He went down with Bruce Arians, as Gavin had pointed out, a phenomenally diversified coaching staff, and we give them props for all of that. And the way that they were able to go down there and get the job done, do your job. It's that simple. Bill Belichick created Tom Brady, so I don't understand the Bill Belichick slander today. Today should be a compliment to Bill Belichick and a nod, because he's who created Tom Brady. Otherwise, he'd just be picking 99. But he is, his mentality, the way that he thinks, the way that he motivates, that's why Tom Brady will always be the GOAT. Not because he's the most talented guy, but he knows how to recruit the most talent.
When it comes to Bill Belichick slander, Zach, I don't get it today, but I do see it. This was supposed to be a year you were supposed to prove yourself without Tom Brady. Zach, you had Cam Newton, one of my favorite quarterbacks, and what we saw what happened. They were a fumble away from being, 500 in a couple games here and there, and then you lose them the virus. I know that's all out order, ladies and gentlemen, but those are things that happen this season. But Bill Belichick created Tom Brady. Let's be real here. Bill Belichick created Tom Brady, and without Bill Belichick, there is no Tom Brady. Without Tom Brady, there's no Bill Belichick. You can't separate these two. They need each other. Zach, it's the same thing I said about Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. The one needs the other one needs it. You can't do it.
And I think I do think Bill Belichick, the Patriots, will be back in contention next year. It was a down year for them, given the lack of talent that they had this year. But they know what they're doing in New England. Both sides, I think they can coexist. They obviously couldn't in the end. Brady was furious after he tried to trade him away and keep Jimmy Garoppolo there. But at the end of the day, Tom Brady's the GOAT. It's a 6-ring difference now between him and Mahomes. Mahomes will never catch him, but Mahomes will make noise. And while I disagree with this is a similar perspective to how Gavin sees the LeBron James Michael Jordan comparison. He can try. He can chase him as much as he wants. He can put up the impressive numbers, and everyone's going to look at him and say, wow, you are possibly second best, which is no insult. Patrick Mahomes will get there one day. I would hope so. And again, last night, I did say this. I've pointed out before, and Gavin, we agree. You really can't judge someone unless you know them. Well, in some instances you can, but specifically when we talk about a guy like Aaron Rodgers, he's not Tom Brady. He's not able to lead and recruit the way that he does. He's an incredibly talented quarterback, but he does have some locker room things that rub players the wrong way. Tom Brady doesn't. Tom Brady is the Patriot way. As Danny Amendola said it, yes, it was created by Bill Belichick. But as Belichick said early in Tom's career, the reason he committed to him, the leadership he had, the maturity, the decision-making. The reason he turned the ball over 2 weeks ago against Green Bay was because Bruce Arians kept telling him to throw the ball downfield. Yesterday, he was barking back at him, telling him a different play that he was going to run, and they scored a touchdown on that play. I'm pretty sure it was the Antonio Brown play against Tyrann Mathieu. So honestly, in conclusion, Tom Brady going there took them from a 7-9 team to an 11-5 team and going on to beat Washington with a good defensive front, beat a Saints team that crushed them earlier in the year, beat a near unstoppable Green Bay team, and did beat a by definition unstoppable Kansas City Chiefs team. Gavin, you'll never see another run that takes down some great quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, and Patrick Mahomes. Of course, throw some love to Taylor Heineke. This was a run this year for this team for sure.
Well, Zach, I got to stop you right here because here's the problem. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers were just a quarterback away. Zach, and it doesn't have to be. It could have been any other quarterback from making the plus. Zach, if your quarterback is throwing 30 interceptions, if he goes a game with 5 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, you don't think that they get a quarterback that digresses what? Maybe let's say he takes like 10 of those interceptions and puts those more into
But who was last night? Who were the top two? Who scored all 3 touchdowns last night for the Buccaneers?
It was
2 for Gronk,
2 for Gronk, which we call,
and 1 for
Antonio Brown, which I have a problem.
Both were recruited by Tom Brady.
But here's my problem with that. Remember, and this is gonna open up a whole nother conversation before I get to that. I'll finish this one. When it comes to that, I get it. But we can't sit here and act like these guys were bums. Zach, they had Chris Godwin.
They had the best wide receiving core even last season. I agree.
They had They had OJ Howard. They had Cameron Brake. They had Ronald Jones there. Okay, they weren't slouches. The defense was practically the same. Zach, maybe give or take, maybe 1 or 2 new people, but that's pretty much it. This guy comes in. You bring this up with a new quarterback. You bring in Rob Gronkowski. You bring in Antonio Brown, which I have a problem with. And you bring in Leonard Fournette. I'm just saying, like these guys, if you would have gave them somebody else, like I don't know if they make the Super Bowl, but they would have been in the playoffs. Like that was the key. They always were. It was just one person.
Yeah, they were 7-9 last year, even with the most turnover quarterback in the league. Exactly. The Eagles had that this year, and they were 4-11-1. But listen, the reason that I say Tom Brady's a GOAT, it's not just this year. It's all 7 of these Super Bowls. It's not a one and done situation. He'll have to repeat next year, but. In your opinion, is the door still open for Patrick Mahomes?
Heck yeah. Mahomes is on 24. Zach, he was.
Their salary cap is going to be atrocious the next few years. $28 million on the cap next year for Patrick.
If you can get people to buy in, right? Zach, if you get people to buy in like they did last year, Zach. Remember, they had a whole bunch of people that were going to leave. They all bought in. They all came back. If you can continue to do that, they're like, hey, we're going to play with that guy. If we can play with that guy, we know what this guy brings to the table. Who cares about what money I'm bringing in? Now, Zach, people think otherwise, but that's just my thinking. Do I think the door is closed? Hell no. Zach, you keep trying to swear to me that LeBron James window is, but there's too many losses with that. But here's my problem, Zach, and I want to bring this up. Antonio Brown, right? Zach, now on our live show, I talked about how I'm all for people getting second chances, right? To a certain point. Zach, this guy, think about it. You act like a buffoon, a fool, and an idiot. I don't know what the correct word is, but mix all those words together, Zach, and that's what the word you get out of Antonio Brown. And that's Antonio Brown right there. You reward all of that with a Super Bowl. Now, I can't hate on the guy. Zach, he acted like a model citizen so we know. He acted like a model citizen when he was there, Zach. But here's the problem I have with that. If you are a kid, right, or anyone that you looked up Antonio Brown and looked at how he did that and his end result was a Super Bowl, doesn't that give up a wrong impersonation, a wrong impression of things or how things are done? Zach, he acted like a total jackass. All right? Podcast soup, I'm sorry. But that's what it is. Excuse my language, podcast soup, but that's what it is. That's what he acted like. And he was rewarded with a Super Bowl. Zach, am I being too critical, too harsh? Because it's like, what's the word they always told us back in school? You can't reward bad behavior with good behavior, like with good rewards or something like that. I don't know, but Zach, that's how I view it as. I'm not going to take away from this man's, his ability to play the game. Zach, that's not what I'm trying to say here. But this man acted like a complete lunatic and got rewarded with a Super Bowl. And I just don't want people to think that's the way to act and good things will happen.
For those on the podcast, that is a phone that rings a lot. Get used to it.
Every day. But Zach, do you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to reward behavior such as that with, I want to say, great outcomes. That's the only problem I have with yesterday. That's not the only problem, but that's one of the problems I had. He acted like a lunatic and was rewarded. Zach, do you see what I'm saying? You're muted, sir.
I get it. I do think that it doesn't send the right message if it was last year. He got himself in a lot of trouble. From what I've read, they've gotten him in therapy. I'm not sure what specifically from the mental health side they've worked on with him. But he had an 8-game suspension, and he served it. So the one way you interpret it, I don't disagree with. I see it. But another way to look at it is a man who made a lot of foolish decisions, got a second chance, made more foolish decisions, got a third, not just a second, but a third chance, made more foolish decisions, left the league, but then gets himself into rehab. They get him into therapy, is slapped with an 8-game suspension, and then comes back on a cheap salary, keeps his mouth shut as far as we know, and went on to win a Super Bowl. Unfortunately, your message that you interpret is going to be seen by too many people. I would hope that from my perspective, a man who has re-entered society would be able to successfully come out there and have a chance to be able to play and do what he loves. Again, the bad behavior. I mean, you got to take that with the NFL. 8-game suspension. Was it enough? Because if it wasn't enough, that's a different conversation. But if you do feel that was enough for him and he got the help that he needed, if you're struggling with mental health, if you're someone along those lines, possibly that would be a better way to interpret it. Again, people are going to interpret it in different ways, but I do understand your concern, Gavin.
Zach, another way, I want you to look at this in another perspective. Let's take it from a race perspective, right? Let's take it from a black perspective, black person perspective. For me, to be exact. We're in a time where we're still trying to knock down barriers, Zach. We all know what's been going on these past couple of months, Zach. We know there's been some things that me and you both what we've seen we haven't liked. But once again, Zach, I view it as this. It's you act a fool, and some people, and I hate to and podcast people, I hate to bring this up, and I said this on the talk show. Some people will use one person's actions and deem it as everybody. Zach, I said the same thing before on the talk show. I said one person's actions does not define everybody else. Zach, LeBron James, model citizen, right? Everything he does, right? Great for your community, great for everybody off the court. Antonio Brown, what he does, they're going to try to generalize everybody as what he does. Everybody's like that. That's the problem I have with Antonio Brown. Is you set arguably the worst example, not for just the kids, but just as a black man in general, and then you come out and then get rewarded with a Super Bowl. What, like, Zach, I know, not trying to take away from anybody, like I said, Zach, he played well. Okay, he played well. But it's just the outcome and how everything went down. Zach, if had this stuff went down, let's say if the harassment with the trainer didn't go down, right? And let's say the stuff that we heard about in the locker room with the Steelers didn't go down, and all we knew about it, or let's say like with the baby mama and him fighting and getting arrested didn't go down, and the only thing that happened was everything that was inside the NFL locker room and stuff like that. I understand that because that's a team sport. You're frustrated with the peers around you, Zach, and then you get traded to a place where it seemed cool, but you didn't want to be there. But it's when you're acting off the field. That's the problem I have. It's the same thing I said with Ezekiel Elliott, Zach. I said Dak Prescott should have got paid first. Why? He's a model citizen. You never hear about getting any trouble. Zach, I feel for Dak Prescott. You lose your mom, you lose your brother. Zach, if you're Dak Prescott, it sucks. But then you have Ezekiel Elliott getting into trouble, getting arrested, pulling girls' shirts down at a parade. Zach, why are we rewarding not so great behavior? That's the question I always gotta ask.
I would hope if there's a tell-all of how he was able to correct his life. I wouldn't say that fixes things, but we're speculating right now, and that's our job. That's our job. And for anyone out there, our job is to reach you. Just know that bad behavior shouldn't be rewarded. But if there is a message, even if you mess up, don't give up because there is a way to re-enter society. And that would be the essential message as we wrap up today. Look, 31-9, Antonio Brown touchdown, Rob Gronkowski, Leonard Fournette, 3 guys who weren't even on the team this time last year. Interesting turnaround of events. So, Gavin, I'll ask you these final 2 questions. Number 1, what are your expectations for the Buccaneers next year? And number 2, what are your expectations for the Chiefs next year?
Well, Zach, my expectations for the Buccaneers for next year is to see what Tom Brady's going to do. Zach, ESPN loves to talk about how Tom Brady's being Father Time, but at some point, Father Time will win. Zach, that's everybody.
He'll be 44 years old next year.
Zach, we talk about how we're not going to lose our hair. Zach, that's going to happen. All right. if there's a room of 15 males, one male won't lose his hair. That's how it goes. But I'm interested to see his ability. And Zach, they have a lot of free agents this year. Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown. So the magnitude of those guys that they got to bring back. I'll be surprised if some of them come back and some of them don't. So you got to see about that. And my expectations for the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes get healthy, offensive line get healthy, come back, and I see them doing the same thing next year, being in the same spot. Maybe Baltimore might give them a little bit of run for their money. What about you?
Possibly. Look, I think for the Buccaneers, if the guys are willing to be team friendly for one more year, they can run it back. But you got to keep getting the defense better. The O-line's got to keep improving. The run game's got to be more consistent. Bruce Arians' future is in question. According to some interviews yesterday, he does want to go back and repeat. Repeating's hard, but if Tom Brady does repeat and win next year, please retire, man. That's a great career if you keep chasing into your 50s. I'd be interested to see. But 44 years old is old. Father time will catch up one day. I don't know when it will be. I'm not going to sit here and predict it or make any cliff assumptions. We know what happened the last time someone did that. And then finally with Kansas City, you're in a lot of trouble. If you're Mahomes, you're thrilled right now because you're getting your money, you're getting your bag. You know the consequences, Gavin, of paying a quarterback. You win the Super Bowl within their rookie window. The extension kicks in next year, I believe, and the cap gets smaller. Sammy Watkins, Edwards-Helaire 2 or 3 years down the road, Chris Jones, some of the other guys, Tyrann Mathieu. Only 4 players account for half the cap, Gavin, on that team. Mahomes, Matthew, Jones, and I forget the other one, but maybe Tyreek Hill or maybe Kelsey, I think it is actually. Those 4. Everyone else, the role players, you got to be budget friendly. Know what works. Mecole Hardman, when his extension comes up, are they willing to do it or are they going to even get paid? That's to be determined. Kansas City's taking a big bet and have one of the greatest quarterbacks in the league, the most talented quarterback in the league. We'll see how that fans out, Gavin. Yes.
Zach, it has. I don't see Patrick Mahomes really making the whole $500 million. Zach, I see a lot of renegotiation, a lot of restructuring. Zach, that $500 million might go back to $200 if he wants to keep the people around. If he wants to keep playing well, that's what it's going to be. And arguably, Zach, I'll be okay with that. At the end of the day, they secured Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes seems like a guy that if you say, Pat, we want this guy, will you do this? I don't think he'll have a problem with doing that. Especially if Tyreek Hill's contract comes up, Zach, he'll make sure Kelsey and I know Kelsey's I think Kelsey's in his 30s, so we don't know how much longer Kelsey's gonna be here. But as long as Tyreek Hill's there, as long as Mecole Hardman, once again, that's not gonna be a guy you have to get $50 million to. That's gonna be maybe like a 3-year, $35 million deal. I don't see Mecole Hardman getting paid more anywhere else. He's not number one wide receiver, Zach. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Tyrann Mathieu. I'm not too sold on Chris Jones, Zach. I'm actually not happy with him. He kind of had an off year, in my opinion. But when it comes to those two, Edwards-Helaire and Tyrann Mathieu, you have to pay those guys. And I see Patrick Mahomes getting that taken care of. And Zach, it's like basketball, playing your role. Zach, if you want these guys to be around, this is arguably the best role play. Maybe outside Tampa Bay, this is the best role playing team they have out there. Got to keep them together.
A lot of no names that are able to complement and do their part. Defense needs to get stronger. The O-line just got to get healthy. For those out there who want to know why I still defend Carson Wentz, last night's a pretty good case for it. We expect that news to break. We'll talk about it. For me, as a big Carson Wentz fan, it's devastating. Again, I spoke about that earlier. Take a look at the website when you get the chance. Hopefully, by the time people are watching this video, morethanphilly.com is up and running. If not, we do have the link in our bios, respectively. Gavin, we're getting to work on that as well. A lot of exciting things coming up. Thank you, everybody, for listening today on whatever platform you're listening on. We look forward to continuing to expanding. And don't worry, the live streams are still going to be here. Just stay tuned for some of our schedules. Gavin, anything else you wanted to cover?
Yeah, Zach, real quick. Look, guys, welcome to the next chapter of the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show. All right, we're excited. For all my live streamers, for those that like watching us, we're coming back. Don't worry. We're going to figure some days out where you're going to maybe see us, maybe 3 times or 2 times, or we're going to figure it out. But live stream on Thursday, Sixers get a rematch versus Portland, and let's go Huskies tonight, Zach. Right? Or who you got?
I'll take UConn. Big fan again. The bubble part 2 for March Madness this time will be coming for both men's and women's. We're going to cover all of that. A lot of exciting things coming for the show. A lot of moving pieces for the network as a whole. Stay tuned if you're interested in contributing or you know someone that can come on and give us an interview. We'd love to chat with them anytime, or we're increasing some flexibility. Again, thank you everybody for listening today. Enjoy the day and have a good one.
Have a good one, everybody.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. In addition, hit that bell icon and set it to all to get reminded of when we go live and when we post excerpts of our videos. Again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.